CNCF meeting. We abide by the CNCF code of conduct. I will link the code of conduct in the chat. Please try to also abide by it. And welcome to Porter Community Meeting. Today is the day of the V110 release and also the day we are getting featured on Crash Loop Backoff. And I'm going to post that link in, I'm going to post it in the Porter Slack. Porter on our podcast today, or I guess it's a live stream. You could come to the live stream, come check it out, come provide help for them as they get Porter up and running. It's going to be really, really cool. Cool. All right, let me go grab the agenda and
Did you set that up? Did you set that up with George? George just did that?
They just did that. And yeah, I got
George.
notified of it last night. Jeremy like pinned me a tweet.
Yeah, I saw it on Twitter. I was going to ping you and I was like, I will just talk about it tomorrow.
I would see, you should have picked, yeah. So Jeremy pinged me and I was like, are we sure it's the right Porter? Like, is it the other one? So I'm pretty happy with that. Oh, I'm in the HackMD. Boop. And I might walk away for literally a second to run downstairs to get my bagel and coffee whenever it gets here. But cool. Is HackMD not feeling like working today, or is it just me?
I clicked edit, but it's not doing anything.
Yeah, I know.
I wanted to add something.
I'm like, oh wait, did they change it? Do you have to hit this pen? Oh, but now it's not like that side thing. Did you get it? I got it.
I got something, but
okay, cool.
But I don't know. Yeah. Let me see if I can add it.
I'm going to add everyone's names really quick. It's all here. Oh, Kurt's here. Hi, Kurt.
Hello.
Don't want to spell your name wrong. Cool. All right. We have a couple of agenda items. I will link to the HackMD too if anyone else wants to add anything. I think I grabbed all of y'all's names. Awesome. Cool. And we can kick it off with the first agenda item, which is storage plugins. And I think Kurt, you brought this up recently with like Azure Blob Storage. But updating Mongo version to support the latest, and how do we add in other storage backend types? So I think it's a good call out that we should update Mongo. I think it's pretty old. And that it's like probably not that hard of a fix because it's whatever image we're pulling. We could just like update the version and then run our EDE tests and cross fingers, right? The second thing about supporting other storage types gets a little tricky. Right now we do have the storage plugin type of interface, but wonder how easy that is to like adopt. Order storage plugin.
It's not very easy because it's based off basically sending the Mongo queries directly almost.
Does it have to be another like it is like a managed Mongo instance in that case, like with wherever it goes, right?
Yes.
Oh.
Yeah, I guess that's an option.
That's not real migrating storage.
Yeah, I mean, one of the reasons we're looking at this actually, just to explain a bit more, we have been using cosmosdb with the Mongo API, which is working great. But we are kind of reviewing security in the setup. And one thing we're trying to get rid of is connection strings anywhere that has a secret. And there's pretty much, I mean, this is Azure specific, and I know Porter obviously is not specific to Azure, but Azure, and maybe I assume other clouds may have concepts of managed identity. So specifically, that's the Azure version has managed identity. So that way, when you connect from a VM or ACI or whatever it is to some resource like storage or anything, if that resource supports managed identity, then you don't have to have a password. You just have the connection string without a password or anything. So Mongo doesn't support it. That said, I actually think that they may implement that feature in the Mongo API of cosmosdb in the future, but it's not there today. So we were kind of debating timelines around if we were going to try to create our own cosmosdb plugin or wait until that shows up in the Mongo API. So all of this is specific to Azure, but that's where we were coming from.
Should I go ahead?
Yeah, I was wondering, because I think right now we kind of just use the like how we auth with Mongo, right? Like, so, and I know you mentioned managed identity. Are you looking at what if there was a way we can like integrate like a token or something to where you don't have the connection string password embedded or some other mechanism that will provide you a stopgap until we kind of implement that storage technique? Because as the interface relies on a lot of that stuff, managed identity included, it would be kind of difficult to try to just make that feature rich enhancement within like an iteration or something. Would that be sufficient? I guess what I'm asking from a feature perspective, because I agree, I like what you're saying because I work at Microsoft, so Azure would be a thing, right? So, but it would be beneficial to like not only have that be the solution, right, for this specific domain, but more or less have a thing where we can utilize other techniques from an authorization perspective, not only relegated to Azure, but more so like we want to do the specific version of AWS, right, or the other thing that we're looking at. It can also be an auth thing that doesn't necessarily behave like managed identity. So I'm interested in your perspective there, only because if we resolve this situation, it's specifically for Azure, and then we have to resolve another solution that may not necessarily hold the same value as what we're doing for here.
Yeah, and I don't know enough about, like you said, the offerings on GCP and AWS work in terms of the equivalent concept of a managed identity, or just options for not having the credentials stored somewhere locally.
I think
Yeah.
the path forward, this gets kind of tricky here, but we do support credentials and just-in-time injections of those. So getting to the point where we can get a credential, like go retrieve it, and then go set up Mongo, like kind of reverse, right? Would be useful. I feel like that also opens a whole can of worms of like letting Porter run maybe too long without like having a data store. Could be like a foot gun we're introducing here. But I think it is a valid use case that, especially if you're running your own like data store or storage, that like you would want to use the normal credential functionality of Porter to go retrieve that, then go set up Mongo. So like I don't think this feature request is too off the wall. It's just how to implement it. Yeah, like a pre-step or like a setup or something like that. But you're getting into like right now the YAML, how it's executed is top down, right? So you could we could have like an init section, which is kind of weird. And that init section would just be around like what is Porter init, which is just like setting up Mongo.
Well, I mean, so are you saying you could, everything depends on what the underlying plugin data store supports, I guess, and actually what the platform supports that you're running on, in terms of what kind of connection string or how you can connect and authenticate. So like if you were saying, if you have some kind of a init where you connect like a connection string from Key Vault and then inject that into the config file, like I don't think that would satisfy our case. I mean, we could just write that ourselves and do that. It's more like even after that's done, that secret is there. I mean, it is in your infrastructure, but it is there, sort of permanently there, that connection string with the secret. That's the issue. So I think, like Troy said, although we didn't explore some of the other, like even Mongo supports, I think, certificate-based authentication and other things, and we didn't explore that too much. So when I raised this question, it was really just exploring all the different options. I said the long-term Microsoft roadmap, as I said, is to support managed identity. But how hard would it be to write other plugins, and does it make sense? But Kim is raising this issue that it's really tied to the Mongo, so trying to support some other database might be tricky. So I don't know how much effort is worthwhile on doing anything that's not just the Mongo API. But
Right.
I don't quite understand the challenge. Troy, although I just quickly looked at the plugin interface, which looked like you could map it to other things, but I think are you saying that like at a protocol level, you have to send like the actual structure, like Mongo structures over the wire or something like that? Is that?
Yeah, the schema is still going to be the same. So like whatever data store you're going to has to be no SQL, right? Someone Mongo correct me. Because like we don't have, like we allow for storage plugins, but we don't have like a storage interface that will translate it to like be the proper schema if you wanted to go to something like Postgres, right?
Right. You're looking at an ORM at that level, and then that would be kind of tricky to get it to the NoSQL scheme.
This was actually what I wanted to write when I first came onto Porter before all this came to be, was to like have a translation layer for storage so that you could bring your own backend. This adds like a whole host of issues too, where like now you're migrating all of this data. Do you have to shut down and take snapshots of the database to migrate it to other things? Like how do you make sure like the schema stays the same between different like databases? But as long as it is a NoSQL database and follows the schema, then you should be able to write a storage plugin for it and it work. But that doesn't fix the credentials thing. I think the credentials thing I want to look at, because I think it's not just a you thing. I think it's going to be an everyone thing. And I think it would help with us from a security perspective to take a look at it.
Okay, yeah.
So you want to put an action item or discussion in the Porter repo? I think I still get notifications for that sometimes, but it's hard to keep track of that stuff, really.
I know. And like I literally have like subscribed to discussions and I only get it very intermittently. Like I'm only lucky sometimes to get like these emails. I think what we can do is like action item is like to create an issue of, and like Kurt, you can do this, but also like Troy, I think we both have enough information to discuss like the user problem, what I want as a user, which is to be able to do like this just-in-time injection and it not be long-lived and it just kind of get rid of itself, whether that's connection string, and looking at that and like how we do credentials currently, but also having an init step to give users the ability to choose like either an existing data store or like spin up their own. Right now, like Porter is heavily tied to like using its own data store, and I think giving more flexibility would be good.
Well, yeah, like you said, it's heavily tied to the Mongo API, which is fine. I mean, that certainly seemed like a reasonable choice, and because, as you say, you can run Mongo anywhere, locally or in a Kubernetes or in all the clouds. So that makes sense. It's just, what else can you do to improve security? Just like what you're saying, which is around the connection string secret today for our scenario.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think I appreciate that you coming and bringing the Microsoft use case, because there's a bunch of security, it's usually security concerns, but that I, as a security person, not a security person, I haven't thought of. So it is like hardening and making the product more like production grade. So I really do appreciate this and coming back with this feedback, and we do take it pretty seriously because I want to make this a product that is like, I don't know, Microsoft grade. So thank you. Microsoft grade could go either way in this conversation, but it's going towards
right. I was like, throw out the air quotes when you say that.
It's like, is it Windows? My favorite Microsoftism is internally, this isn't like a secret. Internally, there is a website for you to make shipping labels, and it is the most difficult website I've ever come across. And it's literally for you to like send your laptop or like get swag from the store, like send like just for like the company to pay for shipping labels. And it looks like it was made in like 1990s. It's just a white page with like black text and like way too many options. We'll never forget that website. But yeah, cool. Okay, Troy, I think this is the one you added, which was signing information for embedded images. Do you want to discuss that? And I'm gonna go get the coffee on my front door.
I did not add that,
Oh.
but
Oh no,
I
Kim-
added that
oh,
one.
Kim did.
Yes. So I'll just also post a link to an issue, an old issue. But so I was thinking about this after we now have signing implemented for the portal bundle and invocation image itself. When image is part of the embedded into the bundle, then it would make sense to also carry on signatures for that image, because when it's moved between repositories and suddenly you might have signed it originally, but moving it across repositories while being embedded in the bundle you will also lose these signatures that is attached to the image, which is
everything inside so you mean like, well, I actually haven't ran that implementation of, well, as you say, the current implementation of signing. So I don't know what it's signing, like you said, but are you talking about like every binary that's in the image and it's having them all signed?
No, it's the image itself, the OCI artifact that will be signed. So the bundle and the invocation image will be signed.
Okay, yeah. So you mean there's two artifacts. I guess there's the bundle artifact in OCI, and then there's the actual invocation image, right?
Yes. So those will be signed, but where you can also embed, let's say, reference other referenced Docker images inside a bundle. Well, will be part of the bundle. So for air gap scenarios, for example.
Right, that's true. Yeah.
And those images could have signatures attached to them, well, originally, but those are not transferred. So you will lose the signatures when embedding another image inside the bundle. And what I was thinking here is that it would be great to support that now that we have signing for one thing, and then in some cases we kind of lose those signatures along the way. And we probably need to have a strategy around that. I see two different options, right? We could either try and figure out somehow what signatures are there, and when running the archive command, I think it is, right? Pull them and embed them into the bundle too, or we could resign, so to say, when we archive or publish, for that matter. But that also seems wrong to kind of throw away the signature that was probably made for a good reason and then change it on the fly. So I just wanted to bring it up here because I think it's a logical step after the signing part for the bundles to support that use case. More and more people are suddenly requiring that the images are signed suddenly, right? And we don't really support that use case in the current setup.
Okay, so my TLDR that I'm going to write down, and like, please correct me. Right now, we're signing the artifact and the invocation image.
Yes.
But if I'm pulling like the Helm 3 mix in like it is in the issue, that isn't signed.
No. Yeah, well, yeah. Now I'm just reading that. Yes, so if we are bundling, what is it? It was called thick bundles or something like that also. I can't even remember. Yeah, the thick bundles especially, right? Then whatever, yeah. Whatever images are embedded into the bundle, they will lose their signatures along the way.
Oh,
So
I see. Yeah,
the
because
images.
we're pulling those. We're pulling
Yes.
those separately from the invocation image, and then we're
Yeah.
executing those as like other containers. Yeah,
Yeah.
so they're not signed.
Yes.
Oh, I didn't think about that. Shit.
They are not signed. So we are kind of signing everything around it, but those things we run are not necessarily signed. Or at least if they were signed, they will lose that information. We will lose that information along the way, right?
I think the way around this should be a thing. I think the way around this is at create time, we need to pull all of that down and
Yes.
bundle that into our bundle. Man, but then
Yeah.
these are gonna get big, so.
Yeah, I agree.
Okay. But maybe like then like real signing is implemented in like Porter Archive. So that could be you're right on that case. Okay, but any images
Yeah,
already.
yeah. I think that we just a second.
You're good. Will not be signed. Give me a second to type up. Okay. So one path forward is signing, pulling all the images down. I wonder what else we could do. Right now for air gapped, we basically like snapshot everything in the registry. I don't know. I'm trying to think of a way that doesn't require pulling everything down.
Yeah. So, now we're just saying pulling everything down. I don't think it's that easy anyway, because most of the signatures are basically other artifacts that references it. So we have to figure out what. It's even different between notary and cosign, for example, right? It's there's small differences, and they can be configured to do kind of the same thing, but they don't have to be exactly the same thing.
Yeah.
So it could all, yeah, it's not necessarily easy to figure out to find the signatures and include those, because it depends a little on how they're signed.
Okay. I think this is we need to do research.
Yes, I agree.
Yeah.
It was, but yeah, it was primarily about figuring out how much we wanted this, but I think it makes sense now that we have signing.
Yeah, we get into a turtles all the way down situation pretty quickly. Okay. There has to be a way to do this though. I think, yeah. I think this is just like a research point. I think we should revitalize this issue. I think next meeting we'll probably do whatever, probably a minor 111 111 tracking. And this can go in there. I guess it'd be 1-2, like we'll just start doing that. So it'd be 1-2-0, and then we'll figure out a release cadence for like bug fixes and stuff. Okay, cool. Yeah. This should be prioritized. I really like that. Good find on that issue. Okay. Troy, did you have something? What is it?
Sorry, I couldn't. The WebMD was. I mean, the HackMD was WebMD, right?
WebMD.
HackMD was HackMD was being really weird for me, so I couldn't add it. But I wanted to say about. I know Porter 1.1.0 is going out today. The operator's not necessarily ready because I have it finished in a work in progress. I had to add some stuff to the role bindings to make sure that we can create the deployment, the service, the gRPC config map that's going to be configuring it works when I deploy it. But when the testing is how is what I can't get around because of how we're doing integration testing right now. We're kind of creating a client cluster that we're like seeing if it builds and putting it there, but then we're not really doing anything. So we're like doing the M test, not on the actual cluster. So it's weird. It's even in the Mage file. It says like, we should be doing this differently. So that's why I brought that up in the channel. Maybe I can demonstrate it on the maintainers call, but basically that's not going out today if we're going to release the new operator with that. So if we want to do another release for the operator itself, because I know that's in a different pipeline, we can do that. What is in the operator currently is the delete stuff that we talked about with the orphan and the delete policy for the install stuff. So that's there. That should work. Maybe we can give it an alpha release and spin the block on it and see how it works.
That makes sense, yeah.
Right. But as far as like the other work is done, I do want to caution because even though we manage the lifecycle of the gRPC servers that we need for the installation outputs, if somebody deletes it, it's gone and then it just doesn't work. So I didn't have it to where it's watching it and then if somebody deletes it, it'll recreate it because I can do that as well, but I didn't want to put all that in one PR. So let me see if I can get this in by getting it reviewed. Hopefully, if not today, this week, I'll have some time, hopefully today and tomorrow. But then schedule maybe a post release for the operator separately. And I didn't know how you want to do that because I know the operator is dependent on the agent config of the porter release, right? So like, did you want to release them at the same time to where the people who want to use the operator will have the same cascading effect of the porter release that's with it coupled together? And then I was
we can delay it because the operator is going to need to pull in.
Yeah, that's what I'm getting at.
Right?
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. And then I was wondering, I know we talked about it a little, but Kubernetes support, I don't know how far back we want to go because the operator right now, I think it's like on 28, 29, 1.28, 29 or something like that. I know 30 is out, 131 is going to be coming out. Do we want to go as far back as N-2, kind of like what Kubernetes does? Because if you're doing this in the lab where you're like still deploying 127 clusters, I think our kind clusters that even at this point are still at 127. So I might need to adjust that. But I don't want us to get too far down where we're claiming support for Kubernetes too far away from what we're trying to accomplish because it's hard to cascade those different API libraries that Kubernetes deprecates. So maybe we can keep it in lockstep with them because we're dependent on them to begin with. And then that way we can always hold the line. It's, oh, it works for currently, but it doesn't work for 7 versions ago because it's not supposed to. Or if it does, it's this version of porter operator or something to that degree.
You said we're testing kind on 127, but are we also testing on 129?
I would have to check. And again, maybe this is the kind cluster that I'm pulling up from the Porter Argo demo. So maybe that's kind of the deal that I'm looking at. So I have to look at the integration test a little bit more fluidly, but I'll investigate that, write an issue, assign it to maybe Ian, and then because he's new and he showed up to the meeting, and then we can figure out how to update that, and then get that work put in. But as far as like the integration testing plan, if we are not going against a real kind cluster to do the work that's necessary, we may need to change the strategy instead of using M-test, which is just scaffolding up like a fake cluster to do the testing itself. Because I won't be able to test the live creation of the deployments because those things don't exist when you create a M-test environment for integration. So I'll look at that strategy and then maybe even write an issue and we can discuss how you want to make that work, because that's a lot of effort, but again, it's not in a sense. Like we just have to change it to an existing cluster. But the problem, I think, is what was just said in the Mage file is that if you have the kind cluster, you have to test it against it, but then you need to, it's hard to assert because of what environment you're in currently inside the environment, something to that degree. I forgot how it was written, but it was written to a way where it was decided that they were doing it the way they are. And if we have to have a separate integration test where we can clearly just install the porter operator and then do some stuff with it, we can literally run that parallel to the one that exists already.
Okay.
If we have to. So.
Okay.
Because like right now, I think it's already in a folder called test/whatever. And then you can just like make test slash real integration or whatever we want to write call it to say that
Right.
this is going to be installed on a real cluster and we're going to use Ginkgo to, scaffold what we need to do or something to that degree.
I think that's fair. I think that's fair. I think following the like n-2 is totally normal. Like I'm you come in with standards, I want to adhere to those. It's just building out to make sure that we're testing, that we are having that support. So I just don't want to come out and be like, here's our like compatibility matrix. And it's like, oh, also like we aren't testing for it. Have fun. But that's like a great issue too. And I appreciate you taking Ian and getting them more familiar with the operator, because I think the operator definitely needs some love.
Yeah,
as we
it
all
does.
know.
Yeah.
It's doing better. You've done a lot of great things. Like honestly, like shout out to Brian and Steven aren't here today because they're traveling, but I mean, they even shouted out that you were killing it. They said we need to send Troy something. I was like what? So really awesome job. Okay, cool. Yeah, I'm fine with delaying operator 110. Just I'm gonna put it like a to-do thing on my calendar because I will forget, and then it's gonna be like we're planning 120, and I just have forgotten.
Right. Next week's
One
4th of
thing
July, so I don't think we're doing it next week. Right. So
I know.
unless it's a party and then we can all, hey.
Yay.
But the following week is when we'll meet again. But I think we have a maintainers meeting on Monday. So if we decide to talk about it there, we can figure out when we want to release it.
That's
if it's
fair.
ready.
Yeah, and I'm fine with that. And then after that, after 4th of July, it's GopherCon. Yay. Cool. I want to bring up one little baby thing that I just remembered that I read last night. Let me put this in the notes so I remember that I brought it up. Which was, we were talking about, we had that issue for homebrew, or sorry, had that issue for adding brew support. But they came back. Let me see if I can grab it. And said that because we're using Mage build and not Go build, we weren't able to add support. And I just wanted to like talk about that. And did GitHub just go down? It's on my internet. I can see everybody. Well, I see
Yeah, I'm
Troy.
trying to. No,
there it
it's. Okay,
did it DNS you too? Yeah,
it did some weird. I was trying to do git push and it was thinking about it and it was like, let me think. Okay, we'll let you go. So that could be me, but
no, I had like just a split second of like fast reloading the Porter GitHub. Okay. So we had this, which was add brew tap for Porter. I'm gonna post it in the Zoom chat. And then the most recent comment was that this person had like made a PR for like homebrew core to add the Porter cap, but Porter is to use the go build command directly instead of Mage build, because the CI on homebrew core wasn't working from my understanding. So let's like grab that PR too. Please review this PR at homebrew core at your convenience. But now this PR is closed. Oh, it does say that it was failing. Template is not valid. Anyways, very weird. I feel like Mage build calls go build. So we shouldn't have to change it. Let's double check. What project am I in? Build. Yeah, it looks like we called go build. Huh. Anyways, if anyone wants to pick this up, I will comment on this issue again. And maybe we can go find someone from Brew Core to talk to us on why this is being troublesome. Because I know our CI is, well, Kim can attest that right now the CI is super fun. And the migration from ADO to GitHub Actions was easy and seamless and everything still works. Speaking of, Kim, do you have updates on CI? Is there anything we can help with the final?
So I think I know what goes wrong
Okay.
now, and it's fun. So the problem is that we have multiple tags on the same commit, and then I found a commit from you where you remove something that actually seems like it should choose the right tag, because right now it consistently chooses canary tag as the version.
Oh.
And if you remove that one, I just tried that locally, then it will choose latest. And then if you remove that one, it will choose the tag that was added. But with this command here, well, that the match. With the match that you removed, it will choose the right tag. I don't know if anything else will break.
I know,
But-
you sent me this and I don't remember why I did it, which is horrid.
So my best guess is adding this will solve that issue. Maybe introduce something else. Who knows? But re-adding that should at least make it choose the right version, which seems to be the problem, that it doesn't think it's building version 110. It thinks it's building Canary.
So are you running the pipeline in GitHub Actions?
I haven't done that.
No? Oh, so because like I'm wondering if you just go and like what I used to do, which would also fail. So like this isn't actually like a valid this isn't a valid helpful thing, but like if you go to like the porter release workflow or whichever one you have to do to kick it off, it should ask you for the tag. Which one is it? In tag reusable porter canary integration. One of these actually does the release. I think this one. Which one are you? Can I kick off this one? Can we not kick off branches anymore? New workflow. Never mind. Don't listen to me. This has changed and I do not know what I'm doing. I thought I used to be able to kick off the porter release as like an event, you know?
Yes, I think you did, and I think that was removed.
It's probably for the best.
Other fun issues. I will just try and make changes locally and see what happens with all the tags, and then take it from there.
Okay, cool. And then how to do this locally really sucks because you have to generate a token and then add that token like one of those like old school tokens and then publish. And then I think you have permissions to publish. You'll get that.
Yes.
But then did you, with your canary fixes, I feel like you fixed the problem with the feed, didn't you? Where like the feed files weren't updating?
Yes, it should be fixed. At least in whenever a canary is deployed now, it will perform updates to the feed for the canary versions of the mixin. So it should work. I will try it and then see how it goes.
Okay. Well, when you have anything to review or like any way we can help, let us know. I'm here.
I will.
Cool. And there's no pressure. Like if it can't get out today, it can get out tomorrow. Okay. Cool.
I will try and make the change to the match file locally and do the replace thing, and then see how it goes with re-adding the thing there, the match to the tags.
Yeah, I wonder why I removed that. But okay, cool. Cool. All right. Does anyone have anything else that they want to bring up? Or any issues, triaging that they'd like to be done? I'm here. Nah.
Hey, I have a quick question. So I also work with Gert, part of Microsoft. So our intention is to kind of like capture the logs when Porter run the mixins, trying to capture those detailed mixing logs. So we were looking at the issues list. and I found the issue number 1857 that has been open on, I think 2022, January 11.
Okay.
And I wonder if that was some issue that you guys plan to, well, this is like an open issue where I can actually, take and start like digging into it.
Yeah. Can you tell me the number again?
1857.
1857. Oh, sorry. I just want to go look at it. But yeah, no, anything that's open. I mean, I get
Okay.
it's super, super duper old. So you probably want to check before you're like, hey, can I implement this thing from 2 years ago? Let's take a look.
Yep.
I think it might be, you may have added it to the backlog.
Oh, I did move it to a to-do. I didn't even remember triaging this.
Oh.
Man, we got a lot of stuff done this release. Great job, everybody. Yeah, no. And so we could probably move this. I'll probably, when we do 1.2.0, we'll move everything that's under to do and in progress into 1.2.0. And then that 1857 has already been something we identified as needing. So it'd be a great like contribution.
Okay.
Yeah, I would super appreciate that.
One of
This
the
shouldn't be
things
too bad too.
evaluating, I don't think, I mean, if there was anything done, I assume it would be linked to the issue. So I think it's probably was filed as an issue, but maybe not much work was done on it yet. Is that your understanding, Sarah, as well?
Yeah, I think what needs to be done right now is like we added tracing support, like Carolyn says, but you just have to pass that into the container, that tracing context, so that it's actually capturing those logs. And then hopefully we can start to give you like more structured output there. So it shouldn't be a horrible like thing to add. It just means like you're gonna have to do some like spaghetti wiring, if that makes sense. And I'll put this on my to-do too, to see if I can link to some code. It's always like a toss-up if I have time, but I'm going to try. Sarah, try to link to relevant code.
What was the number again?
1857. I'm gonna post it in chat too. There you go.
Yeah.
But this would be a great contribution. I mean, we'd really welcome it.
Okay.
Thank you. Thank you. And if there's any questions or like you just need help or you want to pair, just come into the Porter CNCF Slack or just come to the meeting and we can totally set up like a pair call where we can like dive into stuff if you're stuck.
Okay. Yeah, of course, that would be helpful.
Yeah, we're here for that. But cool. Cool. Anyone else have any things catching their eyes or questions, comments? Nope. Okay, cool. Hopefully, please try and come to the LinkedIn Live for the Porter crash loop back off event. It'd be cool if you even just like had it on as a podcast in the back just to see. It's actually gonna be neat because it'll be someone brand new to Porter trying to stumble through the docs. And so we're gonna learn a lot. And hopefully if you're new to Porter, this would be great for you to also learn how it to be used. Dope. And yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
yes, I do. Let me post it here, but it's also in the CNCF channel. Just so it's like long lived, but here, check this out. I hope this is the right link. I'm just posting like random LinkedIn things and you should be able to subscribe to it. I was able to get it to add to my Google Calendar. Very cool, LinkedIn. Good job. But yeah, please try to come make it. It's a CNCF event. Awesome. Well, thank you all for your time. It was a pleasure meeting you. Thank you, Joel and Ian for coming today. Super appreciate meeting you both. And I will see you all in a couple weeks. Bye.
Thank you.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you. Bye.